Hello and welcome to the fifth video on our series on monetary economies. In this much shorter video, we're going to talk about the government's nominal budget. The government's nominal budget is actually very important because it's going to explain what's happening with the money supply. And so to start with, we get nominal expenditure. So this is exactly like in the previous models where the government had to spend G. But because we're doing it in nominal terms, we have to take into account the price of goods in order to write the nominal budget. Then we're going to have a new term. So in principle, the government could have borrowed money in the past. So B is going to be the value of government bonds that are owed for payment in this period. That's also an expenditure of the government because they have to come up with resources to pay for the past debt, that's B minus, times the interest they owe. And together, these two form all the expenditures of this government. Then on the income side, we have, just as we had before, the taxes. Now T is going to be expressed in real terms, so we need to multiply it by the price so that we get it in nominal terms. Then we can get new debt. This debt is again nominal bonds. And so nominal bonds for the government are going to be a source of income because what the government is doing here is it's selling bonds. That's going to be the assumption we're going to make. Positive B for a government, it's going to be selling bonds. So they are getting money today and promising to pay back in the future. While for the household, that is going to work in the opposite way, where they are going to buy bonds from the government and sell them. Now, of course, B can be negative in case that the government wants to actually sell bonds in case they are running a surplus. And then the final term is going to be the change in the money supply. So the final way in which they can get more income in nominal terms is by printing more money. Adding to the money stock, that's going to be the difference between M and M minus, that's going to be new money put into circulation. It's another way in which the government can finance itself. So there's going to be this relation between how much money is printed and how the nominal variables of the economy are going to behave. Now, just to preempt what's going to happen in our next video, from here we can see M is going to be controlled by the government. So we're going to be assuming that money supply is exogenously given by some government decision. So M is going to be exogenous. If M goes up, that's going to give more nominal income to the government, and that's going to add to bonds, and it's going to add to taxes. Now, one way to think about this, and this is going to be useful for what we're going to do later, is think about what the government can do if they print more money. They can spend more, but they can also decide to get less debt. If they get less debt, then that means that the government is using that money in a way to buy bonds. That's an open market operation, and that's usually how central banks emit more money. They print the dollars and they buy government bonds with those dollars. And so B goes down and M goes up. The other thing that the government can do with the money is reduce taxes. So that's equivalent to making a transfer of the money to people. We're going to come back to this idea at the end of our module when we talk about the neutrality of money.